Good morning! Apologies about the fact that my hair is still very much wet and we're in a different filming location. It is quite early in the morning. I literally have a half an hour window right now to film. Otherwise it's not going to get done. And it's already a million degrees, so I am a bit shiny. But that's not what you came here for, the woes of Gemma. So today I'm going to do my top 5 audiobooks. So, a couple of weeks ago I saw the delightful Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf do a video about audiobooks, what makes a good audiobook, what makes a bad audiobook, and some recommendations. I highly suggest you check that video out. I will link it below. But it got me thinking. Audiobook recommendations. In the words of Shelley Swearingen, let's weaponise this. So I'm going to give you 5 audiobook recommendations of fantastic audiobooks, and I'm going to tag some people to do the same so that everybody has a plethora of excellent audiobooks to pick up. Because if you're an audiobook listener, you will know that there are some really, really crap ones out there. And there's nothing worse than a crap audiobook. So let's highlight the really good ones so that we can all just pick up great ones, at least for a while the recommendations continue to roll in. So, without any further waffle, what makes a good audiobook for me is a narrator that has expression and who fits with the story narrative. So that's pretty much all I want. Just, it needs to gel. I say, oh, look, that's an easy thing to do. Clearly it's not an easy thing to do because otherwise they'd all do it. Anyway, my first recommendation would be Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. And this is a massive series of, there's 7 of these now. And the audiobooks are narrated by Davina Porter, and she is an excellent narrator. She just has this calming sort of voice, and her Scottish accent is down pat. And I absolutely love listening to these on audio, and they're really long, so you need a good narrator if you're listening to the Outlander books. I think the last one I listened to was like 50 something hours long. So yeah, if you don't know, Outlander is a sort of historical fiction sci-fi blend. So we follow our main protagonist Claire, and she gets thrown back in time to Jacobite era Scotland, where she meets the Mackenzie clan, and things escalate from there. Most people know what this is about, so I'm not going to go into detail, but I really love them, and the audiobooks are fantastic. The next audiobook I would like to recommend is one that I've listened to quite recently, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'm slightly underprepared for this video, so I'll put the narrator's name up here. But this audiobook was so good. I haven't read any other Andy Weir, though I have watched The Martian, the film with Matt Damon, about 4,000 times. And Andy Weir has an excellent sense of humour. It's quite dry, it's quite self-depreciating, and I'm there for it. And the narrator in this picks up on every single humorous nuance. It's brilliant. There's also some sound effects in this that just work brilliantly. I will say no more because it's fun to discover on your own. But I cannot recommend this highly enough as an audiobook. It was awesome. The next one I want to recommend is another one that I have been wanging on quite a lot about lately, and that is Things I Have Withheld by Kai Miller. He narrates this himself. This is an essay collection looking at what it is to be a black man, what it is to be a gay black man, the differences in culture between Jamaica, which is where he was born, and Britain, which is where he lives now, and some sort of trips and stuff he took to Africa as well. And because Kai Miller has a Jamaican accent, a lot of the stuff when he's talking about Jamaica and talking about some of the dialogue and stuff obviously sounds better with a natural Jamaican voice than it would have done if I was trying to read it in my head. So I cannot recommend it highly enough, and it did make me cry. So yeah, definitely recommend that one on audio. The next one I'm going to recommend is a full cast audio. So sometimes these work and sometimes these don't, but in this case it really, really did. And that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is sort of like a fictional band, and they're sort of being interviewed about why they broke up. And so it's all told in sort of almost like testimonials. Now, Opal and Nev, which was on the Women's Prize this year, tried to do the same thing, but the snippets were too short. In this, we have like quite big chunks from each character, so you can follow through, you know who's talking all the time, and it just worked brilliantly. So I would highly recommend, if you didn't like Opal and Nev, give Daisy Jones a go, because I think that did it so much better. And I really enjoyed it. I picked this up like right at the beginning when it was released, and before I was really part of any bookish communities, so I hadn't heard anyone talk about it, and I did have to Google whether this was a real band, because it was really realistic. So it's not a real band. The next recommendation I have for you is A Life on Our Planet by David Attenborough. So I think David Attenborough might be one of my favourite people in the whole entire world. He's just an absolute sweetheart, and I listened to this one last year. He narrates it himself, and I think I don't know, maybe not everyone grew up the same way as me, but growing up listening to David Attenborough in his documentaries talking about nature, I find his voice really calming, and I want to learn from him, and just like I just soak up all his beautiful tone, and I love it. And because he narrated this himself, that really put the tip on it. I mean, there's some pretty serious subjects in this. This is about global warming and the destruction of ecosystems and all this sort of thing. Though there is a glimmer of hope, and the way that David Attenborough talks is never condescending or patronising, and so you just want to learn from him, and you're sucking it all in. And yeah, I cannot tell you what a joy it was to listen to that on audio. So yes, that is my fifth and final audiobook recommendation. So as I said, I'm going to tag some people who I know are quite prolific audiobook consumers, because I would really like some recommendations of good audiobooks. So I'm going to tag Fraser Simons from Fraser Simons' Springboard Thought, Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, Jack at Spread Bookjoy, and Ange at Ange's Book Chatter. So if you four can give me some recommendations, that would be great. Spread it a bit wider, that would be even better. And I will see you all very soon with another one. Bye guys.